What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Random Encounter Podcast, episode 114. I'm your host, James, and I'm joined by Mr. Bryant.
Live from Piltover.
We got Ash Destroyum here,
Yo, what up, guys? How you doing?
and Phaneckswhy.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, so we got quite a bit to talk about this week. We actually had, I won't say there's a lot of big news, but there's some stuff to celebrate, such as PlayStation. PlayStation's 30 has a 30-year anniversary thing going on right now, and honestly, like when I was seeing like all of the marketing, I'm not sure. Have you guys looked at the PlayStation 30th anniversary page at all?
Yeah, I didn't look at the page, but I did see like the anniversary theme stuff they were doing on the PS5, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, unfortunate because they said that was limited time.
Yeah.
Why not just keep it on the damn console? Like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, there's like a lot of stuff that's on there, and they have a page which we'll talk about later on. But we have that, and there's actually quite a few handhelds that got either leaked or announced, and a bunch of other stuff that we're gonna talk about today. But as always, before we begin that, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Follow on Twitch if you're over on Twitch as well. That does help out the channel quite a bit. Before I actually get into these topics, I do want to give a little bit of housekeeping here. Thursday, we will be doing the Game Awards. We will be streaming the Game Awards this Thursday. So definitely tune in with us while we stream the Game Awards and get our live reaction as the Game Awards goes on.
Live reaction to Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds. Exactly. Yep. That's going to be the main thing they're going to talk about. But like, my expectations are in check. Like, I'm not expecting anything amazing. Some people are hoping for that rumored Final Fantasy X remake that was rumored a bit ago. Some other games. I'm not worried about it. I know right now the only thing we know that's official is there's Tekken DLC that's going to be announced. They showed that off. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm really hoping like they drop a banger with this last DLC. I mean, they have to.
Tifa.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to. We'll see what they get there with that. But like my expectations are in check. Like I'm not expecting anything major when it comes to the Game Awards. But hopefully,
good. Keep your expectations low.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, I'm surprised. Like a Final Fantasy IX remake would be dope. Like I would like Final
Fantasy. How about Tactics? I'd want that more than anything.
Tactics as well. Yeah, Tactics is rumored. So we talked about it quite a few times on the channel. The GeForce Now leak, or not GeForce Now leak, but the GeForce leak.
NVIDIA.
Yeah, the NVIDIA leak that happened years ago. Everything has came to fruition except for Final Fantasy Tactics, because that was part of the leak. Well, and Final Fantasy IX remake, because that was another one that was part of the leak. So yeah, I'm curious to see if they'll announce anything, any one of those. I think for Tactics, I would like a remake. But not like an HD upscale. Like just give me a remake, like from the ground up, different graphics and so forth. For 9, I don't know. Like, I guess a remake as well, but keep the gameplay the same. Like I wouldn't want them to change from turn based. I want them just to do kind of the same thing they just did and just give us the same game. I mean, I'm playing Dragon Quest 3. And I like it. Like, turn-based is great. I know, Brian, you're playing Fantasia, which we'll get to in a little bit to see how you like that. But I don't know. My expectations are in check, so we'll see what happens there. But outside of that, I do want to say that I am not promising any streams for the rest of the month. Work has been destroying me. I'm saying that. Like, I've been very destroyed, very, very tired. And, yeah, it is hard for me to do that. Like, I streamed on Thursday, and then Friday, I was way too tired to stream. And then Saturday comes in and I'm way too tired on Saturday. So like I'm trying to not kind of, run myself out of gas while I still have like 2 more weeks left in the month. Unfortunately with my job and how things are, I'm working a lot more hours. So I got to wait till the new year before I continue that schedule. So I'm not promising any more streams for the rest of the month. If we do a group stream, we do. If we don't, we don't. If I do a solo stream, we do. If we don't, we don't. Just because, yeah, it's pretty intense right now for me. So there's that. I'm going to try to continue to do the weekly videos. I did not do a video last week because of the same situation. I was very tired after that Black Friday weekend. I was just destroyed and I just wanted to rest. I just didn't have, I didn't have it in me to do a video. So I apologize for that, but I'll try to keep it, going forward here. At least in the new year, for sure, I'll be back to 100%. But as of right now, it's going to be hit and miss. So I apologize for that.
I was mad until you just apologized, so I guess it's okay.
uh, so let's go ahead and talk about what we've been playing. Let's start with you, Bryant, because I do want to hear what is your take on Fantasian. Did you play when it was on Apple Arcade at all, or no?
Very little bit. I was just gonna say the intro to the episode where I said live from Piltover. We kind of talked about it 2 weeks ago when we were going over the Game Awards stuff. I finally buckled down and watched the first season of Arcane.
Okay, yeah.
That's from Arcane, and it's very very good. I cannot recommend it
Yes,
enough.
buddy.
Did you watch it, fan?
I've seen it. Like I watched it as soon as it was released. I
Okay, so
binged,
did you get the
straight through it.
Piltover reference then?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so as long as somebody got it. So yeah, I watched the first season of it just because I'd heard so much great things about it. The action's really great. The characters you really care about. The music surprisingly is really good. The animation is beautiful. Really good story. I don't know anything about League of Legends. I've never played League of Legends in my life. I've never really watched a match of League of Legends. I just know there's a game that involves legends and there's a league of them. That's all I know of, of League of Legends. But I really enjoyed the show a lot, and I'll be watching season 2. So that's kind of what we were talking about with the Game Awards last week. Was like best animated or best show or whatever it was. I forget what the category was. But it was like
Adaption.
Fallout or adaptation. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like Fallout and Arcane. I think I said Arcane, and I stick with that. But as for Fantasian Neo Dimension, yeah, I actually just started it today. I played it for a couple hours, and I played a little bit on the arcade, but I decided I could get it on sale with our good old Green Man Gaming, and I decided to pick it up because it just seemed like a really good Steam Deck game, just a really nice turn-based game. I don't know how deep it is as far as like length. You know how long it is? Like how long of an RPG is it?
I mean, it's probably like 30 hours or so. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
believe
so it's
that.
not like
That's
crazy.
not too
Okay.
bad.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, yeah,
actually
so
pretty
that
short for an
sounds
RPG.
it is these days, especially. So it definitely sounds like one I could definitely get through and get something out of it, and not have to devote my life to it like a Metaphor Refantasio or Persona or like a Final Fantasy 16 or whatever. So this sounds like a nice kind of SNES era RPG. But yeah, I like the battle system for as much as I've played it so far. It's just really kind of old school turn based with like abilities and MPHP, just very it's kind of cool. Like there's like things like where you line enemies up to do certain
Mhm.
abilities and stuff. It's kind of like a little bit of a Chrono Trigger edge to it a little bit in that way. I'm enjoying the music. It's really good. Don't know anything about the story really at this point. I'm pretty early in. But if it keeps kind of going the way it's going, it definitely has a very old school sensibility to it that I really like. Like it does really feel kind of like an SNES game, and that's pretty great. It kind of rubs me in the feels, especially during the holiday season, just kind of like being a kid and playing your Super Nintendo, and
Yeah.
just when life was a lot more simple and everything. But yeah, I'm glad I picked it up. It does seem like I'll get through and enjoy it unless something crazy happens, which I'll definitely report. I don't think I've really been playing much else. It's pretty much just been that I've just been really busy with family and
I'll tell you this. There's some twists in Fantasian that I think you'll like.
story
You
twists.
know, story and gameplay twists, which is kind of cool. And it's something I won't spoil because I was actually excited when the gameplay twist came out, which was pretty cool.
Oh.
My only complaint, and I hope they fix this, which I doubt it, but I hope they fix this on this release, is the ending is super grind heavy. Like,
Mm,
and even then, even with grinding, it's almost like the boss scale way too high.
mm,
And that was the main reason why I dropped off and never finished it because it
too
becomes
bad.
yeah, and I think Linus did also a video on that where he talked about it, and it's
Find this tech tips.
yeah, he did a video on how he enjoyed it, but then he got to this roadblock, and that same enemy that he got the roadblock on, everybody I've talked to that's played the game and that got into the game say the same thing. They get destroyed on this boss because it's just stupid. It's very stupid. The final boss for part one, which you won't, the game I doesn't do the part one and part two because when I originally released in Apple Arcade, it was like part one, and then like half a year later it updated and added the second half of the game. But the final boss for part one was pretty tough. Like it was like
Mm.
you had to have something perfect. So you might know what boss I'm talking about when you get to that boss because
Hope not.
it's a really hard boss, but it's doable because it was one of those things where you get in and you kind of start doing the same thing you usually do on every fight, and you're like, man, like I can't do that. I gotta find a different strategy. And then you start looking into it, and you're like, oh wait, I can do this. I forgot I can do this, and then you start bringing all these different things that you learn throughout the game back, and it makes the boss easier. But I think you enjoy it. I enjoyed it, and I thought it got better and better until it got to that part where I felt like, man, it's too hard. I can't do it no more. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I won't say hard, but it's too like grindy. Like I gotta level up and do all this because everything's just too tough. But yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. I still highly recommend everybody to play it, and I hope they fix that. But yeah, we'll see.
Do some
How-
nerfing or do some balancing.
Yeah,
How
I would
much
say
was
more
the game?
balancing. I don't know how much was it, Bright?
I think I got it for $47.99.
Oh,
That's
okay.
not bad.
Yeah, not
$60
bad at all.
game regular, right? Or is it $50
I bet.
regular?
Yeah.
I think isn't it 60? Can somebody go
Yeah.
look?
I think
Yeah.
it's 60 regular. Okay.
Yeah, it might be 60. Yeah, it's worth it. Like I played it, and I've been debating about it. Like, should I buy it again on like Steam Deck? Because I have my save file on my iPhone, iPad, Mac, and it's like, do I really need
Start
to
all
buy it
over, huh?
again? Yeah, and part of me is like, I wouldn't mind starting all over because I enjoyed it that much. Like it reminds me of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. Like honestly, I know you said SNES
Yeah.
era, but I think it's a lot more PS1 era, and I think as you go through it, you'll see it. I will spoil this because most people did not even know this, and most people will probably never find this Easter egg. There is a Toriyama spoiler, or not spoiler, Easter egg in it, which is awesome.
Oh, oh, really?
Yeah, there's a
okay.
Toriyama Easter egg in it, which is pretty awesome. And this was before, man, this was put in the game before he passed away. This was back in 2020 when it came out,
Okay.
and that was so awesome.
Okay.
It's there. So, highly recommend looking for that Easter egg. Most people will probably just not even get to it because it's one of those things that you have to explore every single area and like every nook and cranny of like every area to kind of be like, oh, here's the Easter egg, and you'll
I
know the Easter egg
wonder-
because it's straightforward. It tells you.
Yeah, I wonder what Easter egg it is. I wonder if it's a really nuanced Toriyama Easter egg. I really want to
The
see it.
Goku statue. Duh.
That would be cool.
I
but
would be
wasn't it.
disappointed because I want
Yeah.
something more hidden. Like I want to
Oh,
see
nice.
something
That's
where
cool.
only
That's a cool
fans will
shirt.
know. You know?
Yeah, that's a cool shirt. Where'd you get that shirt from? Oh, it was
Oh,
that
from
the,
that
that's the one
website I
from you
told
told
you.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I did see that shirt before. I was going to get it soon. Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah.
But yeah, that I do like about that. Hey, Geek Show, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. I know Geek Show. He's also playing Fantasia, and I know he's loving it. He's been streaming it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I know he's loving it. Ash, what you been playing? I saw you were playing Honkai Star Rail.
And I still am. I've been actually trying a whole bunch of different games with the new
Mhm.
monitor I got. It's a new ultra wide OLED monitor from Alienware and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And
Nice.
man, it is sucking me in. I'm not regretting
OLED
a
for the
single
win.
second. Yeah, like I'm not regretting a single second with this purchase, and I think this will be the catalyst for me to get back into what's that game? Horizon Zero West. I think this is
Zero
I think
Dawn?
this is the way. Yeah,
Zero
Zero Dawn.
Dawn,
Yeah.
you mean?
Zero West. The
Ash,
third
you're-
entry.
That's the interstitial game.
Third entry. All right. Anyway, but
Making
yeah,
up
Zero Dawn.
games.
Yeah, Zero Dawn and stuff, and yeah, this will be the one. But yeah, I've been loving this new setup so far. The main game I've been trying to finish and get out of the way is Shadow of the Erdtree. Nothing wrong with the DLC at all. It's just I feel like this
Is it
game
game
in
of the year
particular-
material?
Hey, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I think it will be better in a certain different category, like best DLC of the year. But who knows? But yeah, I feel like this particular DLC is like more for people that just want to know more lore about the overall world building, overall world itself. I feel the bosses themselves are kind of fun. I think one of my favorites is kind of like the Death Knight. He has this really cool armor that he shows up with like a really dark cape-ish type of thing, which I definitely like. Which unfortunately you can't get. You can get his armor, but you can't get that effect on the cape effect, which I'm like so mad about. But other than that, bosses are not really that hard. Really, all you need to do is collect these Saku seed things around the DLC map, and as you collect those, you will go back to the Grace. Use those to power yourself up to the point where really you're kind of even with the bosses and stuff. So there's like certain hints where you shouldn't be fighting this boss right now, but you still can because there's an RPG, of course. But yeah, overall, still fun. I'm just trying to get it finished so that way I can move on to other titles and that I also need to finish. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. Yeah, Geek Show. I saw that he got his first review code with Fantasian. So congrats,
Oh, nice.
man. Glad
Oh,
you got
congrats.
that code. It was meant for you. You're a Sakaguchi fan, so it was meant for you. What about you, fan? What you been playing?
Honestly, nothing.
Nothing.
Because
That makes
last week
sense.
I was like with family.
Yeah,
I brought my gaming consoles with me, but I didn't even touch it, to be honest, because I was too busy
Dang.
doing other
that's
stuff.
usually how that happens.
Like I was in Orlando.
Yeah.
We're doing Disney, so
Can
not
I
much
just
could do.
say,
Yeah.
I realized something. I saw it on Twitter and
Mhm.
it blew my mind, and I had no idea. So, do you know about the Disney World Disneyland thing?
Oh yeah,
The name,
LA
naming?
R
Yeah.
O R. Yeah.
Or yeah, I had no idea about that. That blew my freaking mind. So,
What?
okay,
Wait,
anyway,
say what?
continue.
Oh, you
So
say
So
land
Disneyland,
LA?
LA is
Yeah.
in California,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
Disney World,
Yeah.
ORL, is in
Yeah.
Where'd
Orlando.
you hear that from, though?
I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah,
I don't
someone
think
posted
that's
on
right
Twitter.
because Disneyland's in Anaheim. It's not in
Yeah,
LA.
Anaheim's in LA. Anaheim's
LA.
is like a
It's
is
a
like the northern
suburb,
part of LA.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's just like how Disney's technically not in Orlando, but it is in Orlando because it's in like Lake Vista, which is like the suburb of Orlando, or
true.
Kissimmee, or Celebration.
That's
So
true.
it's just,
It's pretty clever if you ask me.
Yeah.
It is. And
Yeah.
it's so clever that I didn't realize it. Anyway,
Well-
go ahead. What are we talking about?
What we've been
like, I haven't
playing.
played anything.
Yeah, there you go.
LA.
Nothing.
Geek Show says LA is a county. Yeah, he's from California, so he can definitely explain all that to us.
Yeah, there you go.
So for me, I gotta say something. Like I gotta confess something. Like I as much as I hate a specific company, more recently, I won't say hate them. I dislike them more recently. I am a huge fan of one of their franchises, and going back and playing their latest entry in this franchise reminds me of how much I really enjoy this franchise. Mainly, I would say the beginning 6 entries in this franchise. Can you guys guess who I'm talking about? And what franchise?
Well, you say you kind of hate them, so I'm assuming they're probably a Western studio. So,
Ash knows me too well.
6
but
entries in a franchise.
6 entries in the franchise.
I didn't say there's. I said that at least the first 6 entries I enjoy.
Yeah.
Final
Yeah.
Fantasy?
No,
No, that's
not
not a
Final
Western.
Fantasy.
Can't be not a
Trails.
Western, is it?
I've never played Trails, Geek.
well, I would just assuming it's Western. So
Yeah.
I James never confirmed it was a Western studio. So
It is. I'll
Far
say it's a Western. It's a Western.
okay, fair.
There you go.
6 Far Cry games.
It's not Far
I
Cry.
I do like Far Cry though.
Can you
guys
give a
give up?
hint?
It's a Western studio. There's your hint.
Is
Like there's Bethesda. There's
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of what franchises has at least more than 6 entries,
yeah.
other than freaking Call of Duty.
Yeah, there you go. Call of Duty. There's Black Ops 6 or whatever. Is it that,
Yeah.
James?
No, it's
Activision?
not Black Ops 6.
is this something well known?
No, it's not. I'll tell you. I'll tier.
Okay, just
I've
say
never
it.
played
Enough
those
of, your,
games either.
enough of your crap, James. What is it?
It's Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft.
Oh, of
okay.
course.
I even just said that. I even mentioned like there's no way it can be Assassin's.
Yeah,
it
of
was
course.
Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed. Yeah, I've been playing Mirage, and I really love how it goes back to like the basics of like Assassin's Creed 1 through Black Flag, and I guess Unity to an extent.
Which that's a good idea. I got to revisit Assassin's Creed 2 on this ultra wide. I want to see. That's gonna look nice. Wow.
Well, like Mirage is amazing, like graphically and story wise. I'm really enjoying it. And like Valhalla was decent. I just hate the open world that they have. Like the world's too big. Odyssey, the same thing. Like after playing like 50 hours of Odyssey, I was like, I'm good. I don't need to play any more of this game. Origins I did beat because the story was, I felt really, really good. I really liked the story of Origins. And you know, Shadows, it's supposed to be as big or bigger than Valhalla. I was like, Valhalla was way too big for me. If Shadows is bigger than Valhalla, I'm not gonna play it because that's just too big. Like, I might still pick it up and mess around, but that's my only issue. Where Mirage, it's about the size of Origins, if not a little bit smaller, the map. But gameplay wise, it's 99% of it is the city, which is nice. Like older Assassin's Creed game, you're just really in the city, and there might have like some, you know, outer like outskirts of the city where there's like woods and stuff like that. But the majority was in the city, and Mirage has been like that so far. So I've been enjoying it. The voice cast is amazing. The main voice actor is Dr. Robotnik's like henchman in the Sonic movies, which
That's actually funny.
I didn't know. His name is what's his name? I think his name is Leah. I think his name. I forgot. But he's the main voice actor, and then the main voice actress there. Her name is Shore, I believe it is. She's in a lot of movies I've watched. Like mainly like 24, which is a TV show, not a movie, but she's in a lot of TV shows there. But yeah, cast is spectacular. Gameplay wise, very spectacular. I highly recommend playing this. It's actually pulled me away a little bit from Dragon Quest 3. More of it's because surprisingly I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable playing this game because I have like the small at my pace type of like I can play Assassin's Creed there, where Dragon Quest 3 is just I have that mindset that the minute I go into a dungeon, I need to complete it before I save it. There's quick saves in Dragon Quest 3, right? So I can technically save at any time and leave, but my mind is set to like, okay, I just entered this area. I need to complete it. And a lot of the areas can take a while for you to complete. So, yeah. Highly recommend Assassin's Creed Mirage if you haven't played it. It was on sale during Steam's autumn sale for like $20. So, highly recommend it. But yeah, let's go ahead and start talking about some of these smaller news that got, talked about or made rounds this week. Starting off with Switch 2. There were some leaks apparently of a case and a screen protector, and I'm not sure if I'm sold on these leaks. A lot of people were reporting this. The case has like bumps on the back as if there's a grip, but if you guys remember, we saw these molds of the supposedly leak of the Switch 2's like Joy-Cons, and they look flat exactly like the current Switch. So I don't know if these cases are real. Excuse me, but there is another leak that was out there that did show again a Joy-Con of the new Switch. Apparently, this is exactly how the new Joy-Con will look. So, kind of interesting. I feel that we'll probably start seeing a lot of leaks revamp, throughout the rest of the year into next year because we're almost in 2025, which means Switch 2. So I'm pretty sure we'll get a lot more leaks going on, and I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited to see when the Switch 2 is going to be announced. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Hopefully not at the Game Awards, but we'll see what happens there.
No way, it'll be the Game Awards.
Yeah,
I don't think so
highly doubt
either.
that. Highly doubt that.
But yeah, the other bit of news that I do want to talk about, which is pretty interesting, is hopefully everybody here have seen that video. Have you guys watched the Gamers Nexus video on the NZXT bad practice?
Yeah,
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah,
I've never bought any of their stuff, so I don't really care that much. I mean, it's terrible, but like I've never bought anything, so it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that it's interesting. So NZXT, they have a rental program, but the rental program is a little bit misleading, and I won't say a little bit. It's pretty much misleading because you can go ahead and the first thing it says is there was no commitments, but then when you read the contract, it is a commitment. And there's other things involved where, for example, it shows you one PC. When you switch over to the other PC, it changes the specs on you. So most people might not realize that, but when you go and press the rental program, even though it's the same page, you get a totally different PC. And the amount you're paying for is ridiculous. It's almost like those like not rent to own places. Well, I guess they're rent to own places like Rent-A-Center and stuff like that, whatever they might have like equivalent. It's kind of like that, but a little bit worse. But not only that, when on the bottom where they show like the graph of performance, it's the same exact performance as the PC that you would buy outright, which is 100% false because you're actually getting a weaker processor, a weaker GPU, less RAM and stuff like that, which is kind of like, messed up on NZXT's part. And they went ahead and tried to defend it, and they were saying they weren't being misleading and that the creators that they partner with were the ones that were misleading everybody and saying things like, this PC is more powerful than, other things and all this other stuff. I just think honestly, they got caught. They should own up to it and call it a day. Versus trying to like hide it, and in real time they're literally updating that page and trying to hide everything else that they had in there. If you haven't already, definitely watch NZXT's video. He has a second video up on it showing how the page looked before his video and after his video, because NZXT is now like changing a bunch of things and changing wording on a lot of things, which is pretty interesting.
I don't know why they're trying to do that. Like, we just use a Wayback Machine and look at the differences, man. Like,
Yeah.
there's no point. Just own up to it. You know?
Yeah, and he's also, anybody who buys any of like his equipment in his like store, he's donating to archives.org, because he wouldn't have been able to have done any of that without the Wayback Machine. So he's kind of going in and like donating to them because of that stuff, which is kind of cool. Donkey Kong Land 3 is available on NSO. I always laugh, but I always have to mention this. Every time I decide to play an old game, somehow it becomes available on a Nintendo platform, whether it's a remake or NSO. Donkey Kong Land 3 is one of those. I was playing that on my Retro Pocket Mini, and then this comes out. I'm like, great. So now I have that on there. But the neat thing is, if you have a Japanese account, you can actually play the Game Boy Color version, which I did not know existed. There is a Game Boy Color version of this game. Only in the US we got the Game Boy version, but if you have a Japanese account, you can play the Game Boy Color version, which is cool. And I didn't know that existed until the trailer came out. I was like, wait a minute, there's a Game Boy Color version of this game? So yeah, if you want to go ahead and play that one, which will probably be the superior version, then yeah, just log into NSO or make an NSO account and then just log in there.
For the heck of it, I tried playing those Donkey Kong Land games. Man, so I have like an OLED screen, like, amazing screen, like one of the best screens you can get. And I assume anybody else that has screens in 2024, they're also pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And like, it's so hard to see like what you're doing in those games. Like, the motion is so bad, and it just blows my mind that like once upon a time you played those on the crappy 3.5, or what, I don't know how big the Game Boy screens were, 3.5 inches or something like that, Game Boy screen with like the no backlight. You have to play it like in sunlight, and it's gotten like a dot matrix screen. It's all bleedy and just really bad, and I just can't believe that like we could play that back then. And it was like, oh, this is fun, this is Donkey Kong Country. And it's like, you try to play it like on the best stuff possible we have now, it's still pretty unplayable. It's cool that it's there, like just as a nostalgia, like kind of a museum history kind of thing. But as far as like gameplay wise, like just go play Donkey Kong Country. Like it's not great.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, as far as like playing it, I think something this small, right? It's not that bad to play on. I wouldn't play on a giant TV. It's kind of like playing GBA games on a giant TV. I don't think looks the best. But in portable, it's not that bad. But I agree, like Donkey Kong Country is just better overall. But sometimes I get in that nostalgia moment. Like, I just want to play something old. I just want to put it up there and just play. And this kind of did that for me. It's nice. It's nice that it's available at least. We complain about old games not being available. It's good to have this available finally. Has anybody else played Donkey Kong Land 3?
I don't think I play any of the Donkey Kong Land games, honestly, from what I remember.
They were
just Donkey Kong Country. That's it.
For me, I remember buying them because it was just like, in my head, it was like, oh, it's Donkey Kong but portable, right? And then eventually Donkey Kong Country came out on Game Boy Color, which was kind of cool. But like, that was the only reason why I got it, because it was Donkey Kong but portable. And I think, Fan, you never had a Game Boy, right?
Nope.
Yeah, because I keep forgetting that. I think you only had like a Sega Genesis, right?
No, I actually never really had a handheld.
A handheld? Okay.
No.
Fan was rocking the Sega Nomad.
Home console. I was always home console, home console, home console.
Yeah, I'm glad I had a Game Boy. It was nice. This next thing is not really small news, but I want us to discuss about it and kind of give thoughts on this. MSI announced a new PC handheld. Like, we are literally, I think PC handheld is, I don't think, it is booming right now. Like, literally, it's huge right now. Between the Steam Deck and ROG Ally X right now, those are the top two. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but I think the ROG Ally X is better than the Steam Deck. I blame Fan, so blame Fan, because he's the one that got me in there. Oh man, why did I hear
Hey man, you guys are the ones that convinced me to upgrade.
Like, what did I hear?
I'm hearing echo.
Yeah, Ash. We're hearing the echo from you.
Echo? Really?
Yeah, it's coming from you. Oh, not anymore. Yeah, I was hearing
Yeah,
the
but
echo
what?
from you.
Yeah, but what echo though?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you have that on
From
your
people
phone or something?
talking.
Yeah.
Oh, hold up. Let me see.
No, it was me. Yeah, it was me repeating myself. I was like, oh man. But anyways, yeah, I blame Fan because like he got it, he loved it. And I said, you know what, I want to get it because the better
Alright,
battery life,
that-
better
that should fix
performance.
that.
Hey, it's y'all fault.
Whoa,
It's
whoa,
a
whoa,
tablet.
whoa,
upgrade.
whoa. Wait, you're
No,
blaming
y'all
me?
told me to do the trade-in.
We did. That's true. We said the trade-in and the money. It was actually Brian. Brian brought up the deal. It was all point fingers at Brian.
Hey,
I'm
man,
not
yeah.
blaming anybody. Good for you guys. You like the ROG
Bro, I
Ally X.
was,
That's fine.
bro, I was going in on the Steam Deck OLED. I don't remember convincing Fan on trying to trade that, man.
Brian was the first one to buy it and said he loved the D-pad, and then he returned it, and then he forced offer. He forced Fan to buy it, and then he forced me to buy it. This is the true story, the undisclosed true story of this process. We were forced. No, I'm just kidding.
Obviously.
But yeah, like honestly, like PC gaming is booming, and one thing that I've said plenty of times, like I really like MSI as a company. Like I love their parts. I think their motherboards are great. Their GPUs. I prefer like OEM like Nvidia directly or like AMD directly, but I would buy an MSI GPU if I needed a GPU because I've trusted them. I've used the MSI Ventus cards, and I think they're pretty reliable. But they are now coming out with the MSI Claw 7 AI Plus and the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, which are basically updates to their previous model. The previous model had issues, and we talked about it quite a bit. When they came out, the issues were there that we were saying, and it's basically efficiency. Intel is not really efficient. They're a power hog. If you have a PC, if you have an Intel chip, you would notice that it demands a lot from your power supply, right? The wattage is always a lot higher, but to an extent, it's also more powerful in certain areas. Not right now. Like I would say, the 9800X3D is probably the best CPU out there in the market for gaming, at least. But when it came to the Ultra chips, that was the same issue they were having. That graphically, it should be on par with an ROG Ally X, but because of drivers and because of also its efficiency, it just wasn't worth it to have the MSI Claw. Fast forward here, now we have the MSI Claw 7.8 Plus, which they're basically MSI Claw 2s in two different sizes. And they now up the RAM to 32 gigs of RAM, which will help out with VRAM, right? We've seen it with the ROG Ally X having 24 gigs of VRAM, or 24 gigs of RAM helps out because you can allocate 8 gigs of VRAM, which makes a lot of games just better overall. And this should help them out in terms of just raw performance. But the biggest thing that I'm worried about is efficiency. And according to what they're saying, the new Ultra chips that they're using in these handhelds are supposed to be a lot more efficient than the original one. They're promising with the MSI A8 AI Plus at least 4 hours of game time, which to me is acceptable. Like I think that's acceptable for bigger games overall. I just don't know if this can happen. And I'm glad that their marketing is actually giving hours, because before it just said, yeah, it's double the battery life of the ROG Ally. And then when it came out, it wasn't even close to the ROG Ally's battery life. But what are your thoughts on these like upgrades? Did you guys read into the tech specs on what they have or anything like that?
When you say upgrades, are you talking about just like the MSI Claw specifically, or were there other upgrades that are coming?
Well, there's other ones too, like Lenovo Legion Go. It's not
Not an upgrade.
it's not confirmed, but so supposedly with the Lenovo Legion Go, there's two models coming out. There's the Legion S, which is basically going to be the current Legion Go in a smaller form factor, and then there is another one coming out that has actually the Z2 Extreme chip. So that's going to be interesting to see, because I think the Z1 Extreme is amazing, and ROG Ally X as of right now, I think it's capable to play anything that I want to play today. So I would like to know where the Z2 Extreme will land on this. We all know that AMD is already working on the Z2 chips because they announced it a while back, and this is going to be the first handheld to have that. So I'm very interested to see where they go with this. But yeah, like that's really the other handheld that we were gonna talk about.
I think that it goes. It's pretty well known that out of all the handheld PCs that came out, the Lenovo one, MSI one, Steam Deck, Asus. I don't know if there's any other big ones that I'm missing, but the MSI Claw by far was the one that was reviewed the worst out of all of them, for a variety of factors, mainly being that one that you were just talking about with the efficiency and battery life and
Yeah,
the Intel crap. Um, so hey, if they release another iteration of it with a more efficient chip and all the kind of refinements that the Steam Deck OLED got, the Asus ROG Ally X got, that's a good thing. Maybe it'll end up being something that's more on par with those other machines because the MSI Claw one was just so pan. So I feel bad for those people that early adopted. I mean, God, the MSI Claw came out like barely a year ago, and this thing is probably going to come out maybe quarter one of next year.
it's supposed to come out
And
this month.
oh, it's this month. Okay, so I bet
Yeah,
it hasn't. I bet the MSI Cloud came out like earlier this year, right?
I
And they're
think
already.
It was
February.
last year. The first claw came out like it was like late last year, early this
No,
year.
it was February
I
this
thought it
year.
was 24. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's why I said
Okay.
like either late last year or early this year. I was just
Yeah. So barely a year, and already they're pulling this upgrade thing. Like it's just. I feel it. And based on like what we're hearing, like this Claw 2 is a pretty substantial upgrade. At least like with the Steam Deck. Like yeah, it's an OLED, but minus a couple of quality of life things on it, it's really not like that much of an upgrade as opposed to this, which sounds like they really fix a lot of the problems that the original MSI Claw had. Whereas like the Steam Deck was kind of like almost perfect as it was. They just kind of made it even better. Whereas the Claw was kind of like a piece of garbage, according to
yeah.
what I've read, and now it's like maybe less so. So yeah, I feel bad for those folks, but the more people come out with these refinements and making these things better, like hopefully all the other competitors get better, and we'll just have better machines all around.
What about you, Fan and Ash?
uh, I mean, there's another option. It's just more variety. So since it's an Intel Arc processor, it's just gonna make Intel like advance their optimization on their drivers for the Arc GPUs. So hopefully it does well, because I mean, Intel just announced their new like Arc GPUs, and their drivers for those have just been slowly getting better and better. But
Hmm.
it's a very small percentage of people still using those GPUs.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping it does well, because if it does well, it's just gonna help out. It's just gonna show other vendors like, hey, this could this was a success. The ROG Ally wasn't just the only one that can be a success. Steam Deck wasn't the only one that can be a success. Um, I honestly think the Legion Go wasn't that big of a success, just because of like it's supposed to be a handheld, but it's so unwieldy
It's a
that
tank, man.
it's not really a handheld anymore.
yeah.
You know?
You need a suitcase to carry that thing around. It's
Yeah.
just
Yep.
So like out of all like the handhelds, really it's the Ally X or the Steam Deck.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping this one does well, and it's just gonna make more OEMs out there like stick their foot into
Yeah.
this market, which will make competition, gives you more options. It'll incentivize Intel and AMD to do custom chips or something, or like make the chips cheaper. Because I mean that's what they did with the Steam Deck. They basically made a custom chip for them.
But yeah, Ash.
It's cool. I looked at the specs. It's cool. The eight AI would, like, if I had to pick one, that would be the one to get, just because it's
Mhm.
got an 80 watt-hour battery.
Yeah. Your take, Ash.
Oh, I mean, I didn't really look into like the upgrades that much. I mean, I hope they succeed, but I've always been like already sold on the Steam Deck and what it can do and everything. And of course, out of all the handheld PCs, the Steam Deck will be the weakest, but it does the job job for it. It does the job for for wanted to do. So it didn't really matter for me if all the other handhelds got like a better upgrade or something like that, right? Because I have certain expectations of what a handheld should do, and as long as it meets those expectations, then I'm fine with that, And the Steam Deck was able to do that all that for me. So I'm not really. The only time I'm going to be upgrading that thing is probably when the Steam Deck 2 is coming out, which that's not going to be for a good bit. So
Yeah. I mean, for, I told you, like, I like MSI, and I do like that Intel's trying to get into the game, and their new art cards seem pretty interesting. Like, according to at least their sheet that they tell you, it's supposed to be better than a 4060 Ti for $250, which I think that's a steal right there. Like, if you can give me the
A mobile
performance.
version, right? Well, like a laptop version of a 4060 Ti.
No, it was the desktop. Well, I'm talking about like the new ARC GPUs that just got
Okay.
announced. Yeah,
The
switching
desktop
there.
GPUs.
Yeah, the
Got it.
desktop version. I think that's cool. And when it comes to like their ultra processors, yeah, they're not gonna give you that specs. But like, my biggest thing with a handheld specifically, there's two things with an Intel handheld, is drivers, right? The first MSI had issues because of drivers. There's just not a lot of things are working great with ARC graphics. The other thing is just battery life. Intel being so power hungry makes it not really a portable console. And it's kind of like the difference between, okay, yeah, the TurboGrafx Express is amazing, but it uses 8 AA's versus the Game Boy is not nowhere near as powerful, but or Game Boy Pocket, let's say, it's not nowhere near as powerful, but it only uses 2 AA's. And that's a huge difference. And then not only that, with the TurboGrafx Express, it only lasted you like maybe an hour, and that's a big maybe, where the Game Boy lasted you a lot longer than that. So it's like, this is kind of like that same scenario that it's kind of cool you have a more powerful console on paper, but if you're not going to give me that battery life, then what's the point? Because in my head, a portable console has to have, or a portable PC, if you want to call it a portable PC, whatever you want to call it, it has to have great battery life. I look at laptops the same way. Like, if I buy a laptop, I want a good battery life. I'm not buying a laptop to be plugged in at all times, because that defeats the purpose of a laptop. At that point, I just get a desktop and call it a day. But that's just the way I see that. And I don't know if I'm sold on anything Intel yet. Like, if I have the extra funds, I probably will pick it up if I have the extra funds to get it. But next year, it's going to be...
Upgrade your computer before you do that.
Well, yeah, no, that's already priority number one. Yeah, a better GPU is priority number one. That's nothing is going to go to anywhere else until I get that. So that's that. But that's why I say, if I have extra funds, then I will pick that up. But even then, it's kind of hard to see, because if the Z2 Extreme on the Legion Go is better, and maybe Lenovo fixes like their issues and it's not as huge, then that could be even a better option, because now you have a more powerful Ryzen chip that's very efficient. We know AMD graphics are going to work great with every game. So yeah, and then there's that. And then who knows if Nvidia comes in with their console, because it's rumored to be partnering with somebody to create a mobile, PC, or like handheld PC. So that's going to be, something else. And then Intel is really going to be struggling. Poor Intel. Like, I really wish they could do better, because we need that competition back, especially in the GPU market. Like, I want them to succeed so that GPU prices can go down, because I just feel that with the 40 series and the latest 7000 series, it was just, GPU prices were just still not where they should have been. And hopefully this next generation prices will go down, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
I love my processor.
Yeah, you got the new 9800X3D, right?
Yeah.
You're one of like the few to get it, because it's sold out everywhere.
Yep, it's great.
A lot of people are wanting it. I was talking to people, and they're like, man, I'm waiting for the processor to come back in stock, because I really want it. And I was like, yeah, I know somebody who's got it. I'll give you his address so you can go meet him out there.
No, I don't think so.
But one other thing that I wanted to announce when it comes to PC gaming is Valve is probably going to go into the living room, because there is a leak of 2 code names, one of them being a Valve home console like device that is a PC, but for your TV. And that is interesting to me, because the Steam Deck already can get docked, right? Which is nice. It's basically a Switch. But if you can have a more powerful Steam Deck just made for your TV, I wonder if a lot of people would buy it. Because that you can already buy a PC, right? What would make people buy a Steam Deck console device over a PC? And let's say they charge it for $500. I would think like pricing would be key, right? You'd have to sell it at like $200 or something like that for somebody to buy it just at that. And even then, it's like, well, why spend it on this when I can get a Steam Deck and I can go ahead and dock it in and plug it into my TV that way. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's a setup thing because like my personal setup in this room that I have, like my PC is on this desk like right here next to me, and then I have my OLED right there, and so I have an HDMI cable I can just hook up to that big TV back there, and then I can game on there for my PC. But I have to bring my keyboard over and all that kind of stuff. It's not a big deal, but like my setup is pretty good for playing on a big screen TV. But aesthetically, like if you're talking like a normal person that like has like an entertainment center, like in a living room or something like that, they don't want to have a big hulking gaming PC desktop tower on their coffee table in their living room. It just looks kind of gaudy. So they it's not have like a game console. It looks like any other game console, like that kind of fits the general mold of what most people would expect to have. So you're right. If it's price and it looks nice, I could see it being a competitor and just something real nice and easy. You just kind of put on a shelf, hook it up to your TV, and have access to a lot of your Steam library, and it looks really good, and the price is right. I could see the market for that. But you're right; it's kind of going to be a very interesting wedge where you get in between the people that are okay with spending the amount of money for a top of the line PC and then hooking it up to a big screen when they want to. And then the people that just flat out do not want to pay that would rather just have a Steam Deck and just game on that and hook it up, via the dock or whatever to a TV. So it's kind of a very specific niche that they're going for, but I could see a use case for it for the right people for sure.
We'll see what happens, because I mean that's what Steam Machines was supposed to do, and that failed.
Yeah, but that was
Royally.
also, what, 14, 15 years ago. So maybe it's changed as far as like how much, like what compatibility there is now and stuff. But you're right, it did
And
fail.
I think the main reason why that failed in the first place was mainly because they sort of overcomplicated all their Steam machines to the average consumer and stuff. Because they're like, "Oh, you want to buy a Steam machine? Well, do you want to get this Steam machine with this processor or this Steam machine with this GPU?" It's not straightforward for a lot of consumers, which is why the Steam machine failed in the first place. They were good
It's like you
machines.
might as well buy a PC then. If
Yeah,
it's gonna be
yeah.
that complicated, you might as well buy a PC.
Yeah, like there were good machines from when they came out. It's just the problem is that if you complicate your marketing like that, then you're obviously not going to get any sales and all that kind of stuff. It's like it's yeah, it's they need some they definitely did something right with the Steam Deck where they pretty much simplified it to like one machine that will literally have the same specs across the board with all the other models, which is fine. If they're going to do an upgrade of it, they need to make it clear for the consumer that hey, listen, you're going to get this performance with this Steam Deck. Meanwhile, you'll get this performance with this Steam Deck, and that's it. So, yeah,
Did the Steam machine, did it run on Linux as well?
yes, I believe
Had
so.
to have, right?
Yeah. So then part of the issue probably was also game compatibility, right? There probably wasn't that many games that were working.
Yeah,
on
Probably
it.
before
it's-
Proton or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Proton's been a while, been around, but even when the Steam Machine came out, it's just the problem is that Proton wasn't as strong back then when
Right.
it got first released. So that's definitely a huge contender to it. But at the same time, you can just simply just flash Windows on it if you want to do it. So
True.
that's up to you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, I guess like pricing is gonna be everything. Like how expensive is this thing? Like when I think and I'm of course I'm gonna be that rare customer, right? That I have almost everything. Why would I need a Steam machine, right? Steam home console when I have a Steam Deck and I can plug that in, and or I have my PC right here, right? Or I have the ROG Ally X that I can plug that in. What is the point of having this? To me, the only reason
I already
would
explained
get
it.
that, yeah, I'm just saying like that. That's for dumb. Like how are they gonna do that? And we're the I feel like the rare exception. I do feel though like the people who don't have those things, what would their thoughts be, right? Like the people who don't have a Steam Deck, the people who don't have maybe a PC, maybe they have a PS5 but they don't have a PC. Do you think they would pick this up?
I mean, it depends on the person, right? So if you're talking about a Steam machine, that's going to be hard to sell to a person that already has like a console that they're already using, right?
Yeah.
So like a good example is somebody, let's say this person only plays, the Sony PS5, right? You could argue be like, hey, you can possibly get better performance of your same PS5 games off a Steam machine, but then you're treading into the territory of the fact that hey, the Steam machine may have to cost more than a regular base PS5 because of the
Yeah.
specs it needs to have on it, right? So it's already kind of a hard sell to get a person who only plays Sony stuff to get a Steam machine. I can see this being pitched to maybe people that only play Nintendo, because getting a Steam machine, it's kind of going to open your library a bit to other indies that you never heard of before and stuff. So I can see the Steam machine to be more like a dedicated indie machine if you think that it's not going to run well on the Switch or something like that. But it's fairly niche. Fairly niche scenarios I'm talking about here, so it's kind of difficult for me to sell that. A Steam Deck, however, is a better option because it's portable, right? You can get that thing and go anywhere where you want with it. You can play in your car, you can play on the train, and it's more powerful than the Switch. So you can definitely definitely be able to run those games a lot more better when it comes to like stuff like Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn. Even though it's not going to be that much longer for the amount of hours, but you still be able to run it regardless. So, but yeah, it's just they need to figure out on who they need to sell it to and focus on that, because I honestly can't find a way to sell a Steam machine to anybody.
Yeah.
That's my issue with that. So,
of the 5 devices that we talked about, right? So the MSI Claw 7, MSI Claw 8, the new Valve Steam machine, we'll just call it that for now. The Lenovo Legion Go S and the other Lenovo Legion Go that's supposed to have the Zen 2 processor. Which one do you feel like is the most interesting of those 5? We'll start with you, Ash.
Oh, it'll probably be the Lenovo with the Zen 2 processor.
I said Zen 2, I meant the Z2, sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it different? I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Because they're on Zen 4 right now.
Yeah.
Technically, they're on Zen 5. So.
Yeah. I meant the Z2 processor.
Okay.
I said Zen 2, I think. I meant the Z2 Extreme processor. Yeah.
Z2 still Ryzen, right? I forgot.
It is, yeah.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I'll still be interested in that because AMD's been doing a spectacular job with their processor. So I'm really hoping Intel's able to catch up, if anything. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
What about you, Fan? Which one is the most appealing to you? You have to choose one. You can't just say none of them. You have to choose one.
So, I had a thought about the Steam box or the Steam home console or whatever, right? What if they made that to what the Wii U like could have been? Like if you have a Steam Deck already, but then you buy the Steam box or Steam machine, maybe somehow they can work some magic to where that Steam Deck would basically be a controller with a second screen. You know?
I mean, that's not a bad idea at all. But the thing is now
it's all going to come down to.
It's only targeting existing people that already have a Steam Deck.
It's targeting people who already have a Steam Deck, which is a lot of people. But then it's gonna incentivize people to buy. Hey, if I buy a Steam box, I should probably buy a Steam Deck. But
then games would have to support that, and there's like no game that would support that.
Hey man, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It's a good idea, but it's just I know there's a good amount of people that have a Steam Deck. I know that. It's just the problem is that now we still have the issue to where, okay, what about the people that don't have a Steam Deck, right?
Yeah.
It's still hard to sell it to somebody that wants to get into gaming and stuff. I don't know. It's a bit of it's hard.
Oh, like what? How you can get a Steam Deck for what? $300, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they sold an entry level Steam Deck is like $299, right?
Yeah.
Is it OLEDs or is it more than that?
OLED's $550. I think Steam Deck LCD is like $349 or something.
$349. Okay,
I think $329 actually.
Okay, so
something like that.
Under $350, right? If they make a Steam box that's more powerful, because for one, you're gonna forego screen, you're gonna forego built-in controllers, you're gonna forego battery. All of that's gonna be external power, so you're gonna have a slightly more powerful processor. So if you can get this sub $500, it's gonna be better than what most people could build for $500 on a computer, right? Because with prices for PC parts nowadays, $500 doesn't get you a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So if they can keep it under that, technically, it's not a bad gaming computer for what you would get if you can get it for under $500.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
Especially if it like came with one of their Steam controllers.
But the thing is, like the Steam Deck CPU, I know GPU is RDNA 2, so it's
Yeah.
older.
Yeah, but
which
they're
is
not going
part
to
of-
do that with the Steam box. That wouldn't make sense. If you're
You
going to do
think
a
they would
home
upgrade
console,
it?
it's going to have to be an upgrade. It's going to have to be something more powerful than that.
Hmm.
Because the whole reason for the Steam Deck with that type of processor is efficiency. It's for
Yeah.
battery life. Right? If you have a home
Yeah.
console, that completely goes out the window. You can throw as much power you want into it. You just got to figure out the cost.
Yeah.
What type of processor is going to be the most cost effective?
So do you
be in
think
that-
do you think they're gonna go ahead and not use their homemade like processor, their like partnership with AMD, and they're gonna
Nope.
use one that's already available?
I think they would probably still partner with AMD and make them custom chip. It's just something that's newer generation.
Hmm.
That would make the most sense.
Yeah. But then, like in my head, I'm thinking, why not just put that? Well, I guess if they're not focusing on efficiency, then that makes sense. 'Cause,
Yeah.
hmm,
You can throw as much power as you want into that at that point.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what this thing turns out to be. Because
But yeah,
Like,
if it's under $500, I think that would actually be decent. Because for one, if you can get it for like $400, $350, $400, you're right around what people would pay for an Xbox or a PS5,
Yeah.
right? But you're not locked into one ecosystem
do you think it'll be upgradable?
except Steam.
Like, upgradable? Add
Storage
more
has.
RAM?
I don't know about RAM. Storage would probably be the only thing that would be upgradable. Honestly, realistically,
Yeah.
they'll have to like solder the memory, but it's gonna have to be probably 32 gigs. That would make the most sense
Yeah,
because
Yeah,
then you
I
can
agree.
allocate a lot more to VRAM.
yeah. With all these onboard graphics chips, yeah, like you need at least 32 for sure. Or I mean, 24 is
Or
okay, but
24.
32.
Yeah, 24 to
Yeah,
32,
it's probably
somewhere in there.
preferred. Yeah. Were you gonna say anything else, Brian? Oh, we gotta
Yeah,
ask you
for sure.
which is the one you think is most appealing to you?
The Steam, the Steam machine for sure. Because I think with those other devices, we already kind of know what we're getting. The
Exactly.
same or slightly a little bit more powerful handheld gaming PCs. Like maybe the hardware will be a little better, the controls, the ergonomics, like the efficiency, it'll be better here, there, whatever. Like we know what that looks like. The Steam machine, though, I'm kind of with fan, but kind of wondering what that looks like, because the reason that the Wii U failed, I mean, the Wii U failed for a multitude of reasons, but like when the developers had the perfect machine to do that, like second screen cute stuff, they didn't do it. They didn't, like, they had it so you could play the game on the screen while your brother or something was on the big screen watching a football game or something, right? But we have that now anyways. You have remote play on a PS5, you have remote play on an Xbox, you have remote play on a PC. You can use your Steam Deck to remote play from your desktop. Like that's all stuff that exists now. Like back in 2011, that was a novelty when the Wii U did it, and it was very primitive, and now it's like baked into everything remote play is. So like, yeah, I think you could use your Steam Deck as a controller, but you could also use your PS Portal as a remote controller technically when you're playing on the PS5. Like it's kind of baked in now. So I'm curious from a perspective of a Steam, like a PC or a company that's mainly in the PC space, making something that is a box. It's not upgradable. It's not what do you call it? Not there's a term for that, like where you can take out certain parts and put them
Modular?
in. But modular, yeah, I was thinking modifications, but yeah, it's modular. They're not going to do. At least I don't think they would do a modular thing, because if you start being able to mod it and do that kind of thing, then it's like you have a PC. So I think really they might have like maybe 1 to 3 SKUs of what this thing is, because if they do more than that, they're going to run into the stuff Ash was saying, where they did this 14 years ago, where they have a dozen of these things, and then people get confused and the market doesn't know what it wants. And so I think they might kind of go more of a way of limited hardware and what the functionality is for the majority of people. And it's going to be tricky because, like I said, it's niche. But I do think that the Steam machine is the one that is interesting. I don't know if I would use it, because other way I have my stuff set up, it's not necessary, but a really nice looking, sexy box with a Steam logo on or a Valve logo on it that can play most of your Steam games. It's light, it's efficient, all the rest. It's cool. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think I was gonna disagree with you guys, but then I think Brian talked me into realizing that yeah, that probably is the best one thing there, because like I've been wanting to buy a dock for my ROG Ally X to put downstairs in my living room, so I have like a just I can dock it on there and go ahead and play my games on there. But like having a Steam machine, I guess, is dedicated to the living room, that I don't have to bring my Steam Deck back and forth or anything like that would be nice.
And you can just power up your Steam Deck and just pick up where you left off.
Yeah, exactly. And that is cool. I get the one thing I would really like is to have a handheld in this size, though. A PC handheld in this size.
Small.
Yeah, because like this is a nice size to carry around, and
What is
I know
that?
we're nowhere near at that. What's up?
What is that?
Oh,
That's the Retro Pocket 5.
5. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the one that everybody says is amazing, which it is. It's
Like
actually,
it?
yeah. Look at the size difference. It's actually not that bad. I thought this was gonna be bigger, and of course I will have thoughts on this. This video probably is not gonna come out till next year, honestly, and I'm gonna be real with you because I haven't gotten around to playing around with it. I've been so busy that I if I made a video today, it would be of nothing. Like I would be
You're like, this is purple.
yeah,
End of video.
exactly. Yeah, I really like the yellow and the thumbstick. That would be it. Like that's it. So I have to play around with it more. But like something this size is kind of cool. Like I do like the way it can be held. But I know we're not at that part yet. But I hope the future, because like I've always enjoyed the idea of like the iPad, of how thin it is and how like easy it is to carry around, and to have something that just looks as clean as like this would be kind of cool to carry around versus something as bulky as, no, it's in my bag over there. I'm not gonna open it, but something as
Steam Deck's
bulky as,
huge.
yeah,
Like it's bigger than the RG Ally X.
yeah, it is. And the ROG Ally X is, to an extent, it's still bigger than this, right? Because the Switch is, well, I have different, Joy-Cons. I have the on there, but like the Switch. So for comparison, like that's still even huge. And then the ROG Ally is bigger than this, so it's like, yeah. So something more compact would be pretty cool, but we're probably not there yet. Hopefully sooner rather than later we start, getting some more efficient, some more smaller devices. I think that'd be kind of cool, in my opinion.
It might be a while because Apple's got that 3 nanometer like production like tied down.
TSMC, yeah.
Yeah.
I think like ARM can go a long way, but that's a story for another time. So let's go ahead and talk about PlayStation. 30 years. That's crazy. I feel like that's wrong, but maybe it's right. They say
Hey,
Makes
man,
you
sounds
really
like it, that sounds
old.
right.
yeah. It's crazy to think 30 years of PlayStation, because they changed the game. Like honestly, they changed the game. Nintendo kept the game alive, and no pun intended, of course, for any of these. Nintendo kept the game alive, and PlayStation did change the game because Nintendo brought that fun experience. PlayStation brought that more cinematic experience, right? And I'm not talking about just what PlayStation does now, but even back then, like PS1 was the only place to get games like Metal Gear Solid or Final Fantasy VII.
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, Gran Turismo. There was a lot of games there that have a cinematic experience, and yeah, N64 tried to do that with
Zelda.
Perfect Dark. I was saying, yeah, and even Zelda, but PlayStation just was where it was at for those experiences.
Voice acting, the orchestrated scores, all
I
that
remember
kind of
playing Onimusha
Yeah,
and like
Onimusha and
and then, like,
PS2. Yeah,
the cinematic like openings and stuff like that was
Yeah.
just
Resident
what
Evil
you
1.
didn't really see.
Like, it was amazing. Not ahead of its time, but it was amazing, and it brought like just a new flair into the gaming space. It brought a lot of people who I would say weren't even gamers into that space. My dad, at the time thought, okay, video games were for kids because you're playing Mario, you're playing things like that. Like Super Metroid was probably not, even though it was designed so kids can play, I would say that's something that adults were able to get into as well. But like when the PlayStation hit, that's when a lot of adults were playing games. My dad was hooked on Tomb Raider. Like he was obsessed with Tomb Raider, was playing that nonstop.
Original?
Like, the original. I would wake up in the middle of the night and he's playing it. He bought a memory
It'd be a
card that
creepy
has
game to
Lara
play at
Croft
night.
on it. Like, You know, it's like he would get home late, right? So like his gaming was like done at night, and I'm sleeping
No,
because
I
I got
know.
school. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's just that game. Like it's just kind of creepy at night because it's like you're in like tombs and it's all like dark and stuff. Like
yeah.
it's kind of creepy game.
It was cool, and there was creepy parts. Like you had the mummies at one point in the
Sure.
original one. You had to like fight against and stuff. It was cool. One funny
T-Rex.
one, the T Rex. Yeah, like that was
Mm.
that scared me when I was a kid. I was like, oh man, this giant T Rex. You gotta fight. And the raptors that were in that same area. But like a fond memory I had of the PS1 was my dad was playing, and he was trying to jump in Tomb Raider. He was trying to jump, and he missed a jump, and instead of pressing start and loading the game, he actually hit save game. So every time
Oh
he
no,
loaded up, he was already
you
falling.
dying.
Yeah, and he kept, dude, I'll never forget. He was so angry. He threw the controller. He was like, I hate this game. So I was like, Dad, I'll get to where you are. And I went ahead and like kind of try to like speed as fast as I can to get to where he was at. And eventually he went ahead and beat the game because then he continued where it left off. But I made sure, I told him when he got to that spot, I was like, all right, don't save it this time. He's like, no, I'm not doing that no more. But yeah, what are some of like your favorite memories of PlayStation? You know, just any memory in general, not just PS1, but just PlayStation in general. Like, what are your most fondest memories?
Um, I could go first, I guess. So yeah, there's a lot that I actually want to say about PlayStation that maybe you guys can relate to or share your own thoughts of it as well. So when I was in fourth grade, I got or like third or fourth grade, whatever it was, I got my Nintendo 64, and I was vehemently anti PlayStation, anti PlayStation. Like it's kind of one of those things that you're a fanboy when you're a kid and you're really knowing about it, and you
Hmm.
hear your friends talking about like PlayStation, you're like, oh yeah, well PlayStation sucks, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we had this thing at school where we had to draw wanted posters, and the wanted poster I did a picture of a PlayStation, and I wrote like wanted for stealing Nintendo's ideas and stuff. And it was like on this thing for everybody to see. So stupid, but eventually, I found out about Final Fantasy VII, and I bought Final Fantasy VII on a PC actually, and infamously that 7 port that was actually done by I think it was IDOS.
Hmm.
Not a great port. It froze all the time, and I had this crappy E-Machines computer that could barely run it, and it would freeze my computer all the time. And in an RPG where you can't always save all the time, you beat a really hard boss, then it freezes, and you lose all your progress. And my dad would get really mad at me when the computer would freeze because he thought that every time we'd reboot it, it would like break the computer and all the rest. But then eventually I learned about PlayStation as far as like, hey, there's some really great games on here. Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy VII. Hey, Final Fantasy VIII is going to be coming out. There's this Brave Fencer Musashi game. There's all the classic PlayStation games, Legend of Dragoon, Ape Escape. And I'm like, okay, maybe, oh no, PlayStation can't be. There's Crash Bandicoot. There's Spyro the Dragon. No, I don't want that. But then my mom's friend ended up, her kid wasn't really into gaming anymore, so he wanted to sell it, and so my mom bought it for me for cheap, and I had the PlayStation. And ever since then, I was probably like 12 or 13 or something like that. I've loved PlayStation, and I played Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and got really, really into it. And I still like my N64, but that was like the fondest memory I have of getting a PlayStation 1 is like going from hating PlayStation to being a huge fan of PlayStation. And then PlayStation 2, I reserve that was 2000. That would have been like October, September 2000. It came out. I think it came out October like 24th or 26th of 2000. But like the month or two prior to it is when all the reservations were happening for it. And by the time that like I talked to my mom about it and convinced her to reserve one for me, they were sold out everywhere. Like all the pre-orders were sold out until eventually we went to Gurney Mills this random day, and I went into the software, etc. And I was like, hey, this is a joke, but I know, do you guys have any PS2s for pre-order? He's like, we actually just had one that canceled, but the only way you can get this pre-order is if you pay this in full and you get like 3 games with it or something like that. So when I told my mom, and she was really cool, and she did that for me, and that was like my Christmas gift or whatever that year. And so I was in 8th grade, and the night of, after my dad went to work, because he worked third shift, we drove to Gurney, which is about a 40-minute drive from here. Went to the midnight release, got my PlayStation. I got my PlayStation 2. I got like Silent Scope, SSX, Ridge Racer 5, Madden, NFL 2001, I want to say, and maybe like one other game. And then I came home and I played it a little bit, but then I had to go to school. I had to go to 8th grade the next morning. But then I had a couple of my friends sleep over the next weekend, and we all just like stayed up all night playing all those games and just having a blast. So those are probably like 2 of the most nostalgic memories for PlayStation and like how much it means to my life. Like when 3 came out in 2006, it was just kind of like this is the next thing in my adult life that I want. I want a Blu-ray player, better PlayStation. Same thing with the 4, although it was a gift from my girlfriend. Same thing with 5. It's just, okay, I'm a gamer. I got to upgrade my thing, play the new stuff. But 1 and 2, when you're a teenager and not even before you're a teenager, there's just something special about like getting it and exploring those worlds and having all that new stuff for the first time. So that's probably the stuff that kind of pops into my head immediately.
I agree with that. And it's funny how you put it that way, that as a kid and teenager getting those things, it's different. Because I remember the Xbox when that came out, I would have been,
2001.
yeah, like I didn't get an Xbox till like high school. So that would have been like 2 years later.
Okay.
And to me, I just was like, oh, cool. And like, I don't have fond memories of the Xbox. Like, I don't like care for the Xbox like that. Like, I enjoyed it. The games I played on the Xbox was great. But to me, I'm just like, cool. It's an Xbox. Like,
Mhm.
I had one, and yeah, there was that. But PlayStation was something different. Fan, did what was your first PlayStation?
So my first PlayStation was a PS3.
Okay.
So the way we did gaming in my household was different because like each family had a console.
Yeah.
So I had the Nintendo stuff. My cousins had the Sony stuff. So and we would always like visit. So like back and forth all the time, like every week, every other week. So there wasn't a time where I couldn't play it if I didn't want to, because I was always had access to one. So there was never a reason for me to spend my own money to buy one because I always had access to one.
Hmm.
But you know, that's how I got to play the PlayStation. Was my cousin got one. We eventually modded it, and then because my other cousin was like a big tech guy, so he figured out how to mod the PS1. Played burnt Japanese games on it. Like
This one was pretty
had
easy to
all
mod
had
too.
had all sorts of fun, back in the day doing that.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah, my first PS was a Sony PlayStation, was a PS3, and it was mainly for the Blu-ray player. But I
what
had
was
fond
it?
memories of the Sony PlayStation because of playing Final Fantasy 7. And it was just like we all play one save file, because
Huh.
that's how we did it. Gaming was a group effort growing up.
So just a random thing I wanted to mention, fan, that you just both you and James made me remember this. I was playing Final Fantasy 7 on my PC, and I got to the part where you get to the mountains, like the snowboard mini game, like
Oh
that
yeah.
area. It's towards the end of the game. It's like I think late into disc 2 or whatever. And like I was like, you know what? I want to go back to the beginning of the game, and I want to just like replay like all this stuff. I'm loving this game so much. So like I started a new save file and got a little ways into it. Maybe like I doubt even out of Midgar. Maybe like to the part where you have to go to Don Corneo's mansion, or whatever. And so I went to save because I'm like, oh hey, I'm gonna come back to this and play this later. I accidentally saved over the file that was at the mountains on accident. So I totally lost all that progress. I was very, very upset.
Memory
And
cards. Hmm.
yeah, well, it wasn't a memory card. It was on my PC, so it was a hard
Oh
drive.
yeah.
But yeah, that just reminded me of that because you're like talking about one save file, and you talk about your dad getting stuck in that death jump or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, I did something similar to that.
I could never share save files. Like me and
No.
my brother, I would not let him touch my. We it got to the point like for our PlayStation, we each had to have our own memory card. My dad would not let me touch his, and then I didn't want nobody to touch mine. I'm like, look, these are my saves,
Mhm.
and he just didn't want us to write over each other's
Yeah.
file. And even though me and my brother did a thing, because after a while, like my dad stopped playing the PlayStation, so then me and my brother would leave our memory cards in there, and I left it in slot 1, he left it in slot 2, and I remember he wrote over my Chrono Cross file and my Final Fantasy 8 file, which is why I've never finished Final Fantasy 8 or Chrono Cross. I've restarted those games so many times, and something always happens, and I just have kind of like given up. Um, Even though like I'm pretty far on Final Fantasy 8 on the Switch, and Chrono Cross, it's just like I just keep going back to those days. Like man, like I don't want to redo all this all over.
Yeah, but it's been so long though with 8. I mean, it's not like this happened like last year. I mean, I think
Yeah.
8's worth another playthrough after all
Well,
these years.
I want to say the most recent thing that happened with 8 was what was it? I think it was on my
Uh,
PSP or something. It got like my save file got corrupted or something, and that's what caused me not to be able to finish it. And I was just like, I'm just gonna take it as I'm never meant to finish this game. My brother has beaten it like 3 times, and he laughs about it. And I was like, yeah, it's your fault that I never got to finish it in the first place because you wrote over my file. But he's beaten it like 3 times, and I haven't. Uh, yeah, those were yeah. I'm glad it. And until this day, we don't do that because funny thing is that the most recent thing to happen like that similarly was the Wii U. We played Super Mario 3D. Was it 3D World, right? And me and my son, my oldest, were playing through it. We got pretty far, and then my second oldest was getting to the age where he was able to play Wii U, so we will let him play like the Wii U and play around. So he did our
I
save
don't like where
file.
this is going.
He did our save file, and yeah, sure enough, he doesn't know how to read. He's young. He's not even in elementary school at the time, and he's just pressing through buttons. And he happens to
No
overwrite
excuses.
our file that was at the extra level. Like I forgot what the name of the extra level is there. But
Extra world, like the really challenging worlds and everything.
exactly.
Challenging levels. Yeah.
Yeah, and he wrote over that, and we're like, no, like me and my son were just so angry that we couldn't beat the game because of that. So my oldest always brings that up. It's like, you remember you wrote over our file of Super Mario 3D World, and we had to restart all over again.
Let it
Uh,
go.
He's like, yep, I'll do it again.
hmm And I think my youngest son now just did that to my second oldest, the one who wrote over our Super Mario 3D World. He wrote over his Astrobot file, and now he's upset at that. So it's like that's why I hate sharing saves. Like anytime you do that, something's bound to happen. What about you, Ash? What was your first PlayStation?
It was actually the PS1 with Crash Bandicoot. I grew up playing a lot of Crash, and it taught me a lot of wonders of platforming.
Mhm.
I definitely streamed a lot when I was a kid, but that definitely taught me a lot of lessons and stuff. So I thank Crash for that. Um, I think my best memory with Sony was actually with a not with a third party game on PS3, and that was Tales of Xyla. I've grown. It was one of my favorites.
Exilia?
Zillia.
Tales of Exilia?
Oh, Tales of yeah, my bad.
Exilia, yeah, okay.
My bad. I'm like hella focused on Call of Duty World at War right now. But yeah,
World
to
at
me that
War?
was one of the World at War. It's one of the best oh crap, I'm dying here. Yeah, it's basically one of the best Tales games I've ever played and stuff, and it's still even trumps Tales of Arise and everything because of the story, the characters and everything. It was just it it was also really relatable too. It was definitely a lot of like elements that played so well in that game. So, and of course, I think along with that, I did play,
Zillia's Jude, right? Jude and
yeah, Jude and Mila, yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, Jude and Mila, which I'm pretty sure that game is already getting like a remaster or something like that
Rumored,
later
Yeah.
on.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Was it officially announced? I thought it was
I
rumored.
I know there's a
no,
rumor.
yeah, officially not. As a matter of fact, Bandai Namco said that they're doing a Tales remaster project, which means they're actually
Or
going
is
back.
that? Yeah, because Grace's F is the first one. I thought Zillia was rumored. Sure.
No, you know what it was? There was a leak, I think, of like a ratings leak somewhere like a few months ago. So I
You're
think that's
right.
what it
You're
was.
right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, Namco on their official Twitter literally said, "Hey, we're gonna do a Tales remaster project." So they're pretty much going back to all their Tales games, remastering all of those into
They're gonna do a
modern
best.
platforms now, which is awesome. So I'm looking forward to all of those, and hopefully they don't bark up a job on those things just like they did with Tales of Symphonia and stuff. So, but yeah, yeah, pretty much my fondest memory was probably Tales of Xillia. It was a really really good JRPG for me. When it was one of the first games I picked up for my PS3 as well. So it was great. Loved it.
Man, that's crazy. That's your fondest. Like my, I guess my fond. I have a lot of fond memories, but most of them is the way I got the PS1 to PS2. PS1 was, I've told this story plenty of times, was around Christmas time, and I remember waking up in the middle of the night because the light in our living room was on, and the way our rooms were in the apartment, it's like our bedroom is here, and then there's a hallway, and then the living room's here. So like from where my bedroom door is, I can see the light from the living room on, and I woke up and I was like, who's up at this time? So I get up, and there, next thing you know, it's my mom and dad playing Street Fighter Alpha 2 against each other. And I remember I got super excited because I was a huge diehard Street Fighter fan, and I still am to this day. and I was like, oh, I want to play this new Street Fighter. So they had purposely were loud and had the light on and everything because they wanted us to wake up to see that we got the PlayStation. But yeah, we had gotten like Street Fighter Alpha 2, Crash Bandicoot, the demo disc that had Metal Gear Solid in it, and like some other games. What else? I don't remember all the games we had on launch. Like that part of my life is like kind of cloudy and like mixed together, because like I don't remember exactly. Because I know I had Wipeout, but I don't know if I had Wipeout at like from the get go or did I get it later on. I don't remember. But there was a bunch of games. What's up?
Can I just say, like, Christmas stories and getting video games are probably peak nostalgia and happy
Yeah.
memories, and like the feelings of just
Yeah.
like joy and everything being new, and like you're talking before, like waking up in the middle of the night and like you see the Christmas tree and there's presents, and
Yeah.
you're going to the bathroom and you're like, hey, it's 3 in the morning, I can't wake up my parents yet.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I love those kinds of stories because I think it's something that's very universal with gamers that are our age, and maybe a little
Yeah.
younger too, that they grew up with Santa and Christmas and all that kind of stuff, and just how special that kind of stuff is, and that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. Christmas to me is just like it's all about nostalgia. Like there's our Christmas tree had like the lights you can press it and like it'll change like the speeds and different like I don't want to say animation, different like light shows, I guess, whatever you want to call it. And we had one also that played music, so it played a lot of like like Silent Night and whatever other Christmas songs are out there. And I'll never forget, like, there's this one night that we had the lights off, so the Christmas tree is kind of glowing everywhere in the living room. And I'm watching Sonic, because Sonic used to play like on USA at nighttime. The Sonic with
Cartoon.
Yeah, the cartoon. Yeah,
The serious one, or the one where he ate chili dogs?
the one where he ate chili dogs. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that one would play, and I'm here like underneath the Christmas tree, just staring at the lights while also like kind of watching the Sonic TV show, and it's something I always tell my kids, like, yeah, I remember I used to do this and lay down and just stare at the lights, but then I look to the left and it's like Sonic is there, so we're doing that. But yeah, my PS2 was also like a Christmas story. It was very similar, same thing. My dad was playing Street Fighter EX3 or EX2, I think.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
That's not nearly as good of a memory of Street Fighter EX2 or
Yeah,
EX3.
that is bad. It was bad. I'll tell you that I did not like that game. Like that when I played it, I was like, oh, this is not good. And I didn't like it. And then eventually, I think I don't know what happened. I think I didn't like that game so much that I threw it away eventually. Yeah, it's crazy. Like instead of trading it in, I threw it away. But it was very very similar. But like I don't know. Like I think when it comes to like all the PlayStation consoles, I like to hate on PS1 a lot because I feel like it's not as good to play today, but it probably maybe it's nostalgia, but it probably still was my favorite. Like I was going back and playing Crash Bandicoot, the Reinsane trilogy or whatever it's called, the remaster, and Crash Bandicoot it's a good game. Like I really enjoyed it. And Crash 2 is also really good. I really enjoyed those games, and I played those on PS1. Spyro, playing that. Resident Evil, right? Playing Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. Brave Fencer Musashi, Legend and Dragoon. Like, PS1 was probably had the most games that I liked out of all of them. PS2 had a lot, right? But I think PS1 was kind of where I could really say I became a gamer was in PS1. Because during the Super Nintendo era, I had games, but I wouldn't say I was a gamer. I was still going outside, right? The world was still grabbing me in and be like, hey, it's outside, come on. But when PS1 came in, I was like, I don't want to go outside no more. I want to stay here.
What Dragon Quest games were on PS1 that got released in America? 7, right? 7 was released in America on PS1?
Yep,
Is that
7 was the only one. Yeah. Because there was no other PS1 Dragon Quest game, and then PS2 was Dragon Quest 8.
8. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's funny. Yeah, because 6 would have been Super Nintendo, and then no other Dragon Quest. Only one Dragon Quest game in that whole PS1 era. Same thing with Dragon Quest 8. Only one Dragon Quest game in that whole.
Did you like
era.
7?
7, the 3DS version is amazing. If you want a sequel to
great.
Chrono, it's because the opening, the beginning is like drags on.
Slow.
It literally takes you like 5 hours just to get to the beginning of the game. Yeah, and people hate that. But for Dragon Quest 7, if you want a sequel to Chrono Trigger, play Dragon Quest 7.
Gotcha.
It literally is a sequel. It started because the script started off as a sequel to Chrono Trigger. Yuji Horii was writing the sequel to Chrono Trigger, and then they canceled the project. So then he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna still use the script, and he turned it into Dragon Quest 7. So, yeah, playing that game right away, I was like, oh, this is Chrono Trigger. Like, it has a similar opening where you start off, and you're not like in a festival, but you start off, you're doing a couple things, and then you go into this temple, which is like a temple of time, but it doesn't tell you it's a temple of time. And then you start traveling, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm in the past. Oh, now I'm in the future. Oh, now I'm in this era. It's kind of cool. Highly recommend it. But yeah, I mean, what would you say was your favorite games on PS1? The one favorite game. You had to choose only one game.
Probably 9. Final Fantasy
9?
9.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Came
contender.
out in 2000. It's so incredible to see the different. Okay, because Final Fantasy 7 came out in 1997 in the US, and then Final Fantasy 9 came out in 2000. The graphical difference in those 3 years is astounding. Because
Yeah.
9 looks good even today. Like a lot of it has to do with the fact that the art style was fantasy, and you get a lot more like liberty with that. Whereas 7 was like kind of like this gritty sci-fi thing where it does look really dated by today's standards, but
Yeah.
9's aged very well. It was really organic. It was just a very pure, refined version of the Final Fantasy experience. After 7 was just like this very gritty sci-fi dystopic world. 8 was also kind of like a sci-fi, I don't know if I'd call it a dystopia, but just they had the junction system. There was just kind of
Yeah.
some weird stuff about it that wasn't like any other Final Fantasy. Not that every Final Fantasy is kind of different in their own way, but then 9 came back and kind of went back to like that 6 kind of thing, like the very traditional turn-based that with HP and MP and the fantasy world and airships and black mages and all that kind of stuff. So I think 9 might be like my second or third favorite Final Fantasy game period. So I'd say it's probably a favorite PlayStation game.
Okay. More than 7?
Yeah.
Hmm.
7 I got me into it and I appreciate it for that, but just like strictly gameplay, story, the characters, the humor, the world, the music, all that stuff is just a little bit more refined in 9.
I agree. Like I wouldn't agree it's my favorite PS1 game, but I really do like 9 a lot.
9's amazing.
Yeah. It's that game I've actually gone through twice.
That's
funny.
the
I've gone through
one
that more
that I
times
would
than 3.
tell. Oh,
Mhm.
go ahead. What?
No, so I've gone through that more times than trying to beat Final Fantasy 8.
Oh, I'm
Which is
sure.
funny. Yeah.
9 is the one that I would tell people probably to go to if they were playing a Final Fantasy game for the first time. I'd say play 9. Like that's the one I'd go to.
It's a good choice. I would pick 10, but 9 is a good choice. All right, what about you, Fan and Ash? Favorite PS1 game?
It's still gonna be Crash for me, actually.
Crash. It's a good choice.
First
Did
one.
you,
First one. It's always
I'm
gonna be
saying,
first one.
did you play 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
The 2 and 3 were awesome as well, but it's just the
But
first
one's
one for
got
me.
that space in your heart. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what got me that's what got me the PlayStation. So
It's simple, but like I don't know. It's simple but difficult at the same time. It's fun. It gets pretty difficult towards the end.
Oh, it's
like, the
difficult.
last
It's a difficult
area.
game.
Yeah.
oh yeah. It sharpened my skills at a really young age. I really think that game and I enjoy that game 110%. Man,
And
I'm
Crash
yeah, so
always dying. I always like his when
The
he
animations.
dies. Yeah.
Wow!
Yeah.
Wow! Wow!
Yeah, it's awesome.
Hoobada.
Yeah. Yeah, I always love that.
And
What about
Crash
you?
Team Racing was awesome too.
Oh
That
yeah,
was,
I agree.
That was good. Yeah.
I love Crash Bash. Who you guys play that?
No, I didn't play Crash.
Yeah,
The Mario Party.
Yeah, the
game.
Mario Party ripoff,
No,
bro.
I didn't even know that. Yeah.
That would be
It's
the
a
game
bash.
that piss everybody off, bro. Because that game, it's fun. It's fun, but it'll easily piss you off, even if you're playing by yourself or with other people. It's a fun game.
Yeah. What about you, Fan?
So since I didn't really own the PlayStation until like 3, and again, gaming was like communal. So we actually played a lot of fighting games. So I would have to say Tekken 3 is my favorite.
Oh,
'cause
that's
the
such a
most-
great game.
That's the one we put the most hours into.
Tekken Bowl, I think, right? Was in that one? Or was it Tekken
think s-
Volleyball? It was Tekken Bowl, wasn't it?
No, I think the volleyball one was in there. I think so.
Google it. I think it's Bowl, but or maybe that was Tekken Tag Tournament that had Bowl. Maybe it was volleyball. I think Tekken Tag had Bowl and Tekken 3 had volleyball.
They had volleyball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember that because I would always pick because Eddie Gordo was my character, and that's always who I was there.
Tekken 3 was so good. Like it
Mhm.
was such a great port of Tekken 3.
Like
That's a
arcade
great pick,
to
fan.
home
Yeah.
console.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Tekken was slowly at that time pulling me away
Why
from
hasn't
Street
that been
Fighter.
re-released? They should put that on the PlayStation.
Is it
Uh,
not? I thought it
Plus.
was
No,
only
I don't
2.
think 3 is. Only 2 is, I think.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
because
there's
Tekken
another
3.
PS1 game that we played a lot too. It was Bushido Blade.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one. Wasn't that that's a Square game? That's Squaresoft, isn't it?
I think so. But she was that. I thought it was Bandai Namco. Was it? I
No, I think
actually
it's Squaresoft.
no. You said it was PS2. Yeah, I do remember that game actually because I remember seeing that all the time in like Blockbuster. Bushido Blade right here.
Yeah, Square.
Square, yeah.
And that was like a realistic fighting game where like you fight with swords,
And you have like
and
um
if you
air
cut
guys.
your arm would be like you couldn't use it anymore.
Interesting.
So it was like it tried to make like samurai duels like as real as possible.
And there's another game too that's kind of another Square game that was kind of under the radar that was really good on PS1 called Enhander. It's like a 2D
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
aid shooter game, like a
That's the one
spaceship
that had
shooter.
Cloud. Oh, never mind. I was thinking it was a game that with Cloud, the fighting
You're
game
thinking
with
of
Cloud in it.
Air Guys. There's Air
Oh, yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
and then there's
And
Enhander.
Hunter's like
And
the
it's like it's
shooter, the rail shooter.
Gradius. It's like Gradius and R-Type and all that. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
like the rail shooter game.
You never heard of that, James? On
No, I don't
Hunter?
think so.
Oh, it's so good. Look it up on YouTube sometime. It's a really good shooter.
How do you pronounce or how do you spell it?
It's a EINHANDER. I think it's like a German.
Okay, yeah. Let me see. Video game.
Yeah, it's one of those like
Hmm.
scrolling shooter games.
Yeah, it's like an R-Type Gradius kind of thing.
Yeah, I've never played this one.
Oh, it's really good because like you defeat enemies and then you can grab their weapons and use them against other enemies like machine guns and rocket launchers and lasers, and it's cool. Great music, great graphics.
I think for me, I'm gonna go with Front Mission 3.
Oh yeah, that's another great one.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it
I
just
think
like
remade or remastered soon or remade
Yep.
soon. It's on current gen.
Yep, I can't wait for
Came out.
that. It's a
Mhm.
game that because like in that era too, I was like a huge like Gundam like nerd. That's like that era because Gundam Wing being on Toonami just
Oh, yeah.
made me fall in love with Gundam and mechs in
Yep.
general.
Me too.
But also like the tactical like RPG elements.
Yeah,
like,
Final
was
Fantasy
great.
Tactics. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I just loved everything about it. Like just going ahead and like you go ahead, you're on the grid, you move around, you can jump out of your ship, you can steal like the other person's like wands, when you attack like different body parts. It's at random, but like the arm could break or your legs if your legs get damaged and you can't move anymore. It was just great. Like you would outfit your team with like missiles, or you can have them have like brass knuckles or like a bat type of thing. Then you have machine guns, shotguns, snipers, all these different elements to the game. It was a really really good tactical RPG.
Also, Vagrant Story too. I just thought of.
I've never played
Yeah.
that. To this day, I
That's
still haven't
another
played it.
that's another tactic style game.
No, it's not tactics like Final Fantasy Tactics. It's like it's a free range game where you can move around wherever, but you can like target different body parts. It's really the combat system is very interesting in that game.
I mean, off topic, but I think Square Enix needs to go back to Evilus. That's just me. I think I like
That's the
all
Vagrant Story world, isn't it?
Yeah, Vagrant Stories,
Final Fantasy 12.
Tactics. Yep, Tactics and
Mhm.
12. And I just like the story there because it has like those political elements to it,
Mhm.
and I just like the whole like political elements of the evil empire, and you kind of get gritty with it. Like Final Fantasy Tactics story is very gritty with backstabbings and all that stuff, and I kind of like that.
Pretty sure the name of the main character in Vagrant Story was Ashley Riot. And I thought that was so cool. They had a male character named Ashley, and they gave him the last name of Riot. It's like, go ahead and make fun of me for having a girl's name. Riot, I'll kill you.
Yeah, I remember seeing Vagrant's story, and I was just like, "What is this game? This looks dumb." Honestly, for me, I always thought that. Then I realized,
He
wait
does
a
wear
minute.
assless chaps.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, This looks dumb. I don't want to play this." And I've seen it like multiple times, like in Blockbusters. Like, no. And then later on, I found out, oh, it's set in Evilus. Nah, this can't be related to Final Fantasy's Evilus. And sure enough, it was. It was the same world and everything. I just think like Square Enix should definitely revisit Evilus. I guarantee if they go revisit Evilus, they would probably be able to get sales. They meet their
I'm
expectations.
thinking of a different game. Sorry.
What game?
When you
What
said
game?
Maker Story, I was thinking of a different game.
What game
Game
were
were
you
you thinking of?
Vandal Hearts.
Oh, okay.
That's a tactics style RPG.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna have us go through each console, say our favorites, but I feel like we're low on time.
Yeah. That's
Is
pretty
there
good.
is there any specific game before we end this from PlayStation or on a PlayStation console exclusive you feel that just stands out in general? And it doesn't have to be Sony, like made by Sony, but it was exclusive to like Sony at one time. You think it's just something that like in your heart you feel like, yeah, this is the like when you think Sony, you always think of that game, regardless of if it was exclusive or not.
Mm,
Like for me, I guess honorable mentions would have to be Kingdom Hearts. Like I always think Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts, PS2 era.
synonymous with Sony. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that just sticks to me. Is like I love Kingdom Hearts, and now it's multi-platform, which is good. But to me, it's always like that's a Sony thing because it was on PS2.
Yeah, makes sense.
Man, I don't know. Like, I'll just say, like, I loved Gitaru Man on PS2. Like, that's not at all what I would say is like what you're asking, but just a quick honorable mention for Gitaru Man on PS2. I wish they would bring that to PS Plus. PlayStation 3, Final Fantasy 13 for me is really special. I still love that.
Mhm.
And then 15, or then PlayStation 5, Final Fantasy 16 obviously is my favorite game on there. And I don't know for PlayStation 4 what I would say is like my favorite game on there, but I can't really like say like, oh, this sums up everything for me, because I guess if I had to choose one, it'd be 7, just because that got me into JRPGs.
I feel like we didn't mention PS3 a lot, but shout out to White Knight Chronicles. I really like White Knight Chronicles, specifically 2, because 2 came with a fixed version of 1, which was weird because at that time you could do updates to games, but like White Knight Chronicles 1 wasn't that great. Like the combat was slow and there was issues. White Knight Chronicles 2 came with White Knight Chronicles 1. It kind of fixed the issues that were in that game, and you also got White Knight Chronicles 2 as well. So you had 2 games in one, which was kind of funny. But yeah, shout out to White Knight Chronicles. Good game.
I want to give a shout out to. It's not really. I mean, it's multiplayer, but James and Bryant, Mighty Number 9 is $2 on Steam.
Don't shout it. Don't give that game air.
I beat it on PS4. I'm one of those that I
How dare you?
didn't mind it. It was
$2, man. $2.
I didn't finish
Just
the
light
ending,
the $2
but-
on fire. At least you get some heat out of it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, nobody else has anything to shout out as far as PlayStation goes.
I don't think so.
Loved having a Blu-ray player in my room when I got my PS2. That was pretty special.
Fun fact: I never used my PlayStation 3 as a Blu-ray player at all.
Really? Not even your PlayStation 2?
Mm-mm. My PS2
Oh,
I used
wow.
as DVD. For DVDs, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, did I say Blu-ray? I meant DVD.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you
did
said
say that
Blu-ray.
earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant
Said-
DVD, sorry.
You said
Yeah.
Blu-ray for PS2. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn. What?
Yeah,
what the hell did I
no,
miss?
DVD. Yeah, DVD. It was cool having a DVD player in my room for
Yeah.
Another
PS2.
cheap,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, it was great.
DVD player at the time.
Yeah, my OG PS2 just got ruined because I would use it for Final Fantasy 11. So like it came with the hard drive, so you had to install the hard drive into the PS2, and then like literally like it started making noises because I would play Final Fantasy 11 so long. Like I would be up 12 hours playing that game.
Your hard drive would be dying.
Oh yeah, the hard drive towards the end was really bad. Like it was making noises, and like at that time I did not understand what was happening. I didn't even realize it was actual computer hard drive. Later on, I found out, I couldn't actually swap that out with an actual just hard drive and plug it in, and it
This
should
is
work.
the Final Fantasy 11 box.
Yeah.
I have to plug it in the back.
Yeah, to me, it became a Final Fantasy 11 machine towards the end of its lifespan. That's all it was. And SOCOM, I did play SOCOM as well. What's up, Charlie? Welcome to the podcast. We're actually at the end of the podcast. What's our favorite PlayStation game? We did mention earlier, but we're saying like our well, are you saying like our overall PlayStation game or just like PS1 game? Because I don't know, like overall PlayStation made game or Sony game. I don't know. Like game made by Sony. Like,
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a Last of Us. I mean, because like Naughty Dog is considered like in the
Yeah.
family, or like an Insomniac would be considered in the
mean,
family
the
as
one that
well.
I put the
So
most hours into was Killzone 2.
okay, yeah, Killzone was
Yeah, they said he said yeah, overall. Gravity
Oh,
Rush.
honestly, I mean, I'm gonna say God of War.
God of
Killzone
War.
was Guerrilla Games. That's I couldn't think of it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Gravity Rush on Vita. Give a shout out to the Vita because Gravity Rush was really good. I
Oh,
really
that
like the world
reminds
of
me.
that.
So I did play a game before I went on vacation.
What game? Gravity
Yeast
Rush?
Origins on my Vita.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
okay. I've yet to play East game. I gotta try them out. I heard it
I'll
got
say
great
the last
music
of
too. Mhm.
I'll say The Last of Us Part 2, probably. Like, that's
Last of Us
probably
Part
my
2.
favorite. Or that's like I think that's the most like influential, best PlayStation game ever, just in terms of like performances, story. I mean, they made a freaking HBO show out of it that's won Emmys and stuff. Like, there's a lot of really solid stuff in that. I'm not saying it's my favorite, but as far as like the thing I respect the most, and maybe it is my favorite. I mean, out of like Sony studio games, it probably is my favorite. The Last of Us Part 2, or Last of
Yeah.
Us, just that series in general. I mean, because I liked Spider-Man a lot. I did like Horizon a lot too, but Last of Us is a pretty special game.
Yeah. I mean, Spider Man. I don't know where I would put that because like I feel that's an existing IP. So I don't know where I would put that on there for me.
I would say that
At least
counts. I
from
mean, it is a Sony
I
made
mean, it's a
game.
Sony made game, yeah, but like there were other Spider-Man games, like Spider-Man, Maximum Carnage. Like, who doesn't like that game?
For SNES.
Yeah, that was an amazing game
Yeah,
with the
that's a
red
good game.
cartridge. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
the red cartridge was amazing. Like, all right, we're gonna go ahead and end the podcast here. Do y'all like racing games? Yes and no. Like Mario Kart is cool. I like Gran Turismo too, but that's because of nostalgia, and Rage Racer as well. But that's nostalgia.
I like older racing games back then. Like I loved all the Need for Speeds. I love the Burnouts. Like those are more arcadey racing games, but
Yeah,
that's what made them fun, right?
yeah.
So yeah.
Agreed, 100%. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and end the podcast here. Appreciate everybody for joining. As always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Follow over on Twitch if you are on Twitch as well, and vice versa. If you're on Twitch, go head over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. I am hoping to get a video of this thing this week and try to do my videos. Like I mentioned earlier, we will have the Game Awards live stream on Thursday, so definitely come in
Cannot
and stay
wait.
tuned with us. What?
I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be fun. Definitely gonna be fun. I can't wait. So Thursday, tune in with us. We will be doing it live, so we'll have the stream there. You'll be able to see everything. We'll be both on Twitch and YouTube, which is gonna be fun. So yeah, can't wait to see what happens. You know, and we'll see if it's good. If we all fall asleep during it or not. As far as streaming goes, outside of that, like I don't know if I'm not guaranteeing any like solo streams because, like I said, my work schedule is too crazy. So I don't want to say that I am gonna do it when I might not. I will say I'm leaning probably more on no because the way I feel right now is I'm just dead tired. But podcast will still go on. We'll continue the podcast. Podcast is something that I want to continue doing, regardless of how it is, because Sundays are usually not that bad. It's every other day. It's pretty hard. And like I said, videos. I'm trying to commit to doing these videos every week. So hopefully I can get this video done. I got a bunch of stuff that I gotta review. I got this thing. I got. Let me show you this. I don't know if you guys saw my stream. Got this thing, which is actually surprisingly really, really good. It's a
Is that what you're
GameCube.
playing for
Yeah.
on when you were streaming?
Yep, with Smash. And this thing, it surprises me. Let's just say that I feel like this is a probably really good GameCube controller replacement. But definitely check out my video on that. This video probably won't be till another like week or two. When it comes to this, and then of course my Retro Pocket 5, I still gotta do a video on that. I got a bunch. I got like 6 videos that I gotta do, and I'm just behind right now. But yeah, definitely keep an eye out for all those things. So as always, thanks for watching. Ash, where can I catch you at?
You can catch me out of the radio counter these days, so yeah, I'll be here.
What about you, fan?
Yeah, you can catch me at Phaneckswhy on Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky now, YouTube.
What about you, Bryant?
I'm at Red So Deep on Blue Sky.
And as always, you can catch me right here also on Twitter and Blue Sky, where I may post things from time to time, and of course my videos and all that other good stuff. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Ash. Thank you, Fan. Thank you, Bryant. And we will catch you guys next time. are semi live here. Just checking out, testing out something. Where is the? Cool. Looks like it's. Oh, yeah. Looks like. Yeah. Looks like it's good. Awesome. It does work. Okay.